Hello guys, it is Monday, February 23rd. It is my granddaughter's birthday. Happy birthday, Mina. That's why I didn't get this done I didn't do yesterday's. I did have the grandkids with me over the weekend, and the littlest one was very demanding of my time. Like, when he napped, he wanted to be held. Every time I tried to lay him down, he'd wake up crying, wouldn't go back to sleep. So after about the third attempt at getting him to go to sleep without being held, I finally just gave in and just held him while he slept. And so then he slept really well. But that left me pretty much anchored anchored to my couch for the better part of yesterday. And then after they were picked up, I was exhausted and I went to bed really early. Yeah, takes a lot out of me. It takes a lot out of me to have the kids, but I love it. I would never not. And in fact, I asked for them for this weekend. So it's a balance that I'm willing to teeter. All right, so day 22, which would have been yesterday's, is book page collage, and today is napkin decoupage tag. I'm gonna combine. I'm gonna book page collage on both my tags for day 22 and day 23, and that's where I'm gonna start first. I do have my napkin over here already picked out. I'll show you how to separate the plies when we get to that part of it, because you do have to separate, otherwise your stuff, you end up with just the white layer. Eventually your top layer that has the design on it will start to separate, and then all you have left adhered to your tag itself is the white base. And so if you decorate on top of the decorated part, you may lose like everything except for that bottom white layer. So you do have to separate. I have a stack of papers over here. This is an excellent way to use your fragile papers that like to fall apart or they crack when you try to fold them. So they're not good for doing pockets because they crack. You can't use them in die cutting because they fall apart. This paper, you've seen me glue on it. This is a legal dictionary, I guess. So like it defines, what a bill of sale is, what an establishment is. I take that back. This one's not the legal one, because this one talks about Social Security, right of appeal, and the spine is long gone, so yeah, do you let price alone determine the value of your products? Yeah, I don't know what this book was to begin with, but the papers are very, very fragile. You've seen me glue on them if you watched any of my other videos. So they do, just trying to get the pages unstuck from themselves on this corner. This whole entire corner, it just broke off together. I won't throw this away. I'll save this because I can use it in a cluster or something. So I'll put that back in my little. But yeah, this book got wet at some point, it looks like. So yeah, it was stuck to the back page there. But I'm almost done. But that's why I use this one for my glue pages a lot, because it frustrates me that it falls apart so easily when I'm trying to do other things with it. So I've pulled another one of these from my shelf behind me. I think it was this way. This is just long book page And this isn't even the full height of the book page original. I've trimmed off down here at the bottom. There was probably another, ½ inch, maybe, long book page, but it's covered with regular 8.5 by 11 paper and then cut down. I've got a bunch of these. I never covered the backs because if I decide to use these as pockets, I don't need the backs to be covered. There's no need to waste the paper. So I usually, when I do stuff like this, I'll usually leave the back undone until I know what I'm going to do with it. In this case, this side is going to be the writable side. So this is the side I'm going to cover. No point in covering this side and then putting plain paper on this side. That would just be silly when this side's already blank and writable. Okay? So we're going to glue on this side. I have my glue ready. And this is just, I'm just using Boohoo glue stick. I'm still wearing my Farmally bracelet. The last of the babies are due tomorrow. Although there's still a bunch that have not kitted. There's a whole bunch of overdue nannies over there. We've had a lot of births. I think there's 10 babies on the ground currently. We've had to have one emergency C-section. We, meaning Steinlett's Family Farm, not me personally. And we've got some mamas that are struggling to bond. So Jasmine, the one who had to have the C-section, her baby has been grafted onto another mom because she would not accept it after the surgery. And then they thought their goat Nan was going to need a C-section because they tried to get the baby, couldn't get the baby out. So they loaded Nan into the emergency truck, the emergency transportation vehicle, and hauled her up to their new vet at New Bolton, with the intentions of dropping her off and picking Jasmine up. And apparently Justin was on his way back home and the vet called and they had Nan all prepped and ready for her C-section, and she did a final push and out popped her baby. So he had to turn around, go back and pick her up. But there had been so much time in between when she delivered Nan, between when she delivered her baby and then waiting on x-rays to see if she's going to have more babies, plus the hour drive back home before she could be reunited with her baby. And by then she was rejecting the baby. They are still working on getting her to attach to the baby, which is making some progress. She's being a little stubborn because she won't, when the baby's in the pen with her, she wants nothing to do with it. Like she, pushes the baby away and, won't let it nurse. But then when they remove the baby and try to put the baby with somebody else, she calls for it. So it's causing some frustration, I think, probably for Justin and crew, that it's making it, I'm sure it's making it very difficult for them to make a decision on whether to just graft her baby onto another mom or let Nan keep trying to bond. So I checked in right before I started recording. It looked like they were still trying, still allowing that time. There's plenty of nannies. I think there's 15 or 16 more to go that they can they're kind of on a bubble because right now Nan's baby is losing weight because it's not eating as much as it should be. So they're kind of on a bubble of opportunity, and probably within the next 12 hours, I would say they're going to have to make a final decision. Bottle baby her, graft her to another mom, or risk continuing on the path and trying to let nature kick in. So we'll see what happens. So figured I would just kind of give you guys some updates on that while I was tearing some papers down. So all I did there was I tore off all the white sides. These sides are big enough that I can stamp on them. So these will go into my stamped paper drawer. I'm going to put them in there right now. Into my strip drawer that I can for stamping on. The ones that were really small, I mean, I do have small, like really small stamps that I could use to stamp on those, but yeah. All right, so when you're collaging, you've got to make a decision, and it's personal choice. Straight edges or torn edges. You can go through and with a ruler tear down itty bitty bits to collage on here. Maybe I'll do both. Since I'm doing two, let's do both. Just so you can see what both look like. So I'm going to start with this one, with this page. I'm going to tear a little piece off. Again, this is the really fragile paper from this book. Since you're doing two, why not just show both? Okay, so that has a straight. Now, obviously, your outer edges are going to be, they're going to be straight. There's, right? You're not going to have a raggedy edge on your tag. It's funny, you can see, I can see the holes in this paper because this is the one I used for a long time for punching the holes in signatures. I'm going to start with this, go with this one. Creating a little garbage spot over there. Oh no, I gotta sneeze. Get in that one. Oh, sorry, I couldn't stop the first one. Couldn't mute you in time. Okay, and then this one, we're going to go this way. I'm just going to kind of tear it down. So I have this, my straight edge on the two sides. And I'm going to tear the rest. I'm starting first by just going through my paper. Just getting once, because these aren't big surfaces, right? So when you're collaging, this is another one of those times where it's personal choice. Some people, but straight up against the last piece. So like laying this piece, what would cover up here, they're going to lay it right up against this or just barely overlap it. Galligastinelli is one that I know. She will tear into to almost fit it perfectly. Other people, will overlap. I'm an overlapper. I like the look, and I like the not thinking part of it. I think Gail, for her, it's a lot of her overthinking process, and I say that just because I know she, a lot of times she talks about trying to be free in her process and trying not to overthink it and trying to just go with the flow of it. It's funny, this book has holes in, or this page has holes in it too, but it's not from the same book. Had a really, really good talk with my sister yesterday. And it was so funny because we were on speakerphone and Mina was in the room and she's like, yeah, you're right. That's true. I'm like, it was so funny listening to her. Thinking she knows what we're talking about. Tear that. I don't even know what book this one came from. It was just the piece was up in my glue page spot. See, like I have this little spot here and a little spot here that if I was really worried about it, lining up and matching, I would have a hard time, I'd be cutting itty bitty little pieces out instead of just working the process. This paper gets gluey so easy too. This page is from my 1920s entertainment book that I was using the other day. The Etude. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's how I'm pronouncing it. Now this is the only place where I'm going to kind of like measure, and that's because I do have this tall spot here. And in order to keep my stuff from having a straight edge, I want to make sure I have a piece that's long enough. So it's just, I didn't like get the ruler out and measure like that. I just kind of, did a rough. Because I wanted to make sure it was tall enough to fit there without it being even with either of these pages. Oh, my Japanese page. I do have a ton. If you haven't watched my channel before, I have a ton of Japanese books. I bid on them in an auction at our local auction house, and because I love the writing, and I can't read it. I don't know what any of it says, but I love it. I love the look of it. So if you would like some Japanese pages for your journaling, hit me up in the comments below and we can connect up. And I can get a goodie bag together for you. I don't want to cover too much of that, but okay, so there's my straight edge, and then I'm going to tear my edges. Put this right here. See, and I don't like how these are lining up. They're almost even. Hey. So I will try to rectify that in the next pieces that go down. So this one only needs a little one. I'm going to trim that down more because otherwise it's going to be straight with that one. Oops. Not straight, but we can deal with that. So I did line this edge to edge up right here, but that's so that I don't create a join. Do a top. Oop. Tore off a little more than I meant to there. It's okay. That's the joy of collage, is that there definitely are no mistakes in this process. Because anywhere where you have a spot that's not covered where you meant for it to be, you just add another piece of paper. And it's okay, it actually covers. And because I have this spot right here where I don't like where these two pages are level with each other, I still have a little spot here that is visible. So I'm going to figure out what paper I want to go there. I think I'm going to use this one since it's already out. And because it's going in the center, I don't want any straight lines all the way around. You can see how easily this just falls apart. Like, it doesn't even tear. Try to tear it, it just... So, I think I'm going to go that way. Keep trying to grab my soda instead of my glue, which, hey, that'll be a big mess if I pick up my glue and flip it over. And it's not going to be effective at gluing my down my pages. Okay, so all of these I'm going to stick in my red bucket. Okay, I'm going to clean up this mess. So here's the difference. So you can see the difference between a straight edge collage and a torn collage. They're both gorgeous, doesn't matter. But some people don't like this. Some people don't like this. I do both. I don't do both in the same piece. Keep that in mind. If I'm doing straight edges, I'm doing straight edges all the way through. If I'm doing torn edges, I'm doing torn edges all the way through the project. Now, would I use collaged pieces in a journal that are mix and match? Yes. Like, I would use both of these tags. I could use both of these tags in a journal, even though one is straight edge and one is torn edge, because they're going to be on different pages, most likely. Okay, so there's that. Gotta think what I want to decorate that one with. All right, so get your napkins out. This is one of my favorite ones. I'm gonna throw that out there. I say my water pen should still have water in it. So first thing you need to do with your napkin is, like I said, separate those layers. I don't have any tape. Let's see if I can get it with a glue stick. Yes. So you just want to be able to separate those layers. You can use a piece of tape and do that exact thing. Stick it, pull it, and it should pull off a piece like this onto your tape, which then separates your layers. Now this is only a 2-ply napkin, but you can have a 3-ply, and I've even seen some 4-ply napkins. So you just want to pull your layers apart until you get to the very, this way it would be the bottom layer, but until you get to the decorative layer and you no longer have just these white pieces. I do save these. I use them in decoupage like this. Now, because this is a small piece, I want this right here, but I don't want to cut into this butterfly. So you see, if I just glue this down, I'm going to lose part of that butterfly. So that's where my water pen's going to come in. Because I also do want this leaf up here. So I'm going to give it just a little bit of a squeeze to get my brush. Come on. There we go. Get my brush wet. And we're going to go around. And I also don't want those butterfly wings. Woo! It's really warm in my craft room, so it's already starting to dry, so. Okay. Boop. See? And then I preserve that butterfly for a later use. I may want this, so I just tear this piece of, this off. It's not really anything that I foresee me using in the future. See, and I didn't know how much of that I wanted. That's why I cut all of that out. But I do want just a little bit of, it'll go on the corner. Okay. And I guess I learned a new term. This was dry collaging. You can use a wet medium, like PVA glue, school glue, Mod Podge, to put your image down. I find that I struggle with that. I end up with more ruined pieces by trying to use a super wet glue versus using my glue stick, which is opposite. A lot of people say that when they try to use a glue stick, they, it sticks too early or it wrinkles or, whatever. So you're just going to have to do it yourself and figure out which one works for you the best. Now this was a relatively small piece, but if I was laying down a bigger piece, what I would do is have a piece of saran wrap or acetate or something plastic back, the shiny side of, like when you have sheets of labels, when you pull the label, the part that the label is stuck to is shiny so that the labels don't stick, right? Use that piece and lay it over and do one of these, very carefully, and then you don't want to use it a second time, because when you lift it up, any glue that was sticking outside is now going to be on whatever you're using. So you wouldn't want to go to your next one and try it again, because you might get stuck to it and ruin it. So use a new one. That was Carrie the Crafter taught me that one, and I was like, ooh, I like that idea. Not that I always have plastic wrap in my craft room, but if I'm doing a lot of this in one sitting, I'll bring my plastic wrap in from the kitchen. Just trimming down those corners here. Looking around, I was kind of wishing that I had some stamps still on my desk, but I do not. So there are some spots where the napkin is not, like right here, down in this corner, up in this corner, a little bit over here, where there is no napkin covering the lettering. So you can see just a slight difference where this is muted and this is not. If that bothers you, you can take some of that plain white tissue that you pulled off and kind of do some patchwork. And the good thing about the white background is it does blend in really well, even when you're doing layer over layer. Like a single layer, layering one over the other, it's not really going to show a lot that it's a patchwork. I mean, if you go over and over and over and over, you're probably going to get, a line. Let's see. Do I have anything in my sentiments? Oh, come on. It's going down into the recesses. Oh, bring it on. Now, I know Gail does it. And Lori at Enchanted Dreams 71. I had some leftover faux washi tape on my desk somewhere. I am not finding it now because it's probably underneath my mat or something. Apparently I need to lift my entire mat up and get underneath there, clean under there. But yeah, I don't see, I had just a little strip. When you're doing flowers like this and you want it to look like the flowers are taped to the page, you put a little piece of faux washi down there. And then it looks like, you know, you've taped the same with like old photos. Put some faux washi, aged, you know, so it looks like aged tape is the idea behind it. I'm just gonna go ahead and glue this down. Right there. Bring it on. I'm waiting for this to dry a little bit so that I can do the hole punch. And these, for my book, they're sliding in. So I'm not going to put the ribbons on them, because that makes them not quite go in the book like I want them to. I did. And I don't have them out. I'm not going to dig them out. I was like, a bird. But then again, those are all too small anyway. I needed a bigger bird. So I know I have these. I don't remember whose digital this is. If I find it, I'll put it in the description box. And if you follow that, keep in mind, again, these were printed when I was almost out of ink. So the colors are not true. I don't know if I have anything in here small enough for this tag. I was mad too because I cut these out. I printed these on good paper, on really good paper, and then my printer started running out of ink. I was like, argh. Kind of like this one because he's up and down. Oh, my flamingo's legs got bent. Looking better. Too tall. I have an owl. Yes, so icky. I like that. It's, you know, I mean, but I'm not going to throw them out because they're, you know, I'm sure I'll find a project where having a muted image is not a bad thing. Loved this. Go that way on a page. So pretty. I loved the so pretty. Loved this kit, obviously. Or I wouldn't have purchased it. This doesn't go with this, but neither do these. These have their own spot in my books. See, I puttered out on fussy cutting. Vertical, or horizontal. Horizontal. I'll check that one in just a second. So yeah, these have their own book. Oh, see, looking much better. Should find the mate to that and show you the difference. Ah! I feel things hitting my legs. There it is. I'll show you the difference between them. Different sizes, obviously. I printed them out in the smaller size and then I wanted them bigger. And that's when my printer started running out of ink. So, yeah. I definitely need to look up and see who these birds were. I'm going to put the flowers that are in here. I'm just going to put them back in here. And try to remember that they're in here. Try to remember. Okay, so I have this guy that doesn't take up all of the card. Standing on a branch. A lot of times I'll do this and I'll look up at my camera to see if I like it. Or I'll take a picture of it and see what, you know, and then I think I like this one better. So I'll put this guy away. Go back over on my shelf when I'm done. All right, pull this back over. These pages are glued together. I want my walnut stain. I have a cabinet on order for my new the inks that I got at the secondhand store. So when I get that cabinet in, I'll take you guys along the ride and I'll show you all the colors that new colors that I got. Just going around, getting that white edge. Just kind of giving some a little bit of aging to the picture itself. Okay. And the reason I was so wanting on the birds is because I have this sticker, and I've wanted to use it for so long. It says clumsy birds have to start flying early. Clumsy birds have to start climbing early. I find it hilarious. And it's true. But I never really have found a use for it. Never found a project that I liked it in. Not everybody gets my humor. Not everybody has the same kind of humor. So the people that I've specifically made journals for that I used birds in did not have the sense of humor that they would find that funny. So I just haven't used it. So I'm going to use it in this idea book, and it'll stay in the idea book in its infamy. Okay. Just got to decide. So he is going to lose a little bit of his tail and a little bit of the rock, and that's okay. Oops, apparently I didn't get any glue on the back side of his head. Go there. I can go here. Oh, there's. Use my wet glue. I do have to be careful in using my wet glue because, as I've said before, I only have an inkjet printer. I don't have LaserJet. So if I get my images wet, they're going to spot or run, depending on how much liquid is there. So I'm going to do this so I can get my fingers out of the way. So it can go here. I can put it up here. I think I like it up here. So it's like he's looking at it going, uh-huh. It's almost like he's looking at it going, why are you calling me out like that? There we go. I'm like, and it is a sticker. It's taking me a little bit to get it. Got it going. There we go. Just wasn't. My eyes weren't processing it. So I'm going to put it right here where the tag. Where the tag goes up. A little bit of overhang up here of paper. That should be plenty dry. Now what you do up here is up to you. You could do a hole punch. You could do a Euro punch. You could do a lanyard punch. you can do no punch at all and just staple a topper. Which if I had fabric handy that I knew would go with this, I would do a fabric topper. But I don't have any handy. All right, so here we have day 20, book page collage, day 21, napkin decoupage. And again, mine is on the base of a collaged card. Take the picture for the thumbnail. All right. Thank you for tuning in. By the time this, it's already 3 o'clock. So yes, my Monday Marvel video has already dropped. So I hope you take some time to watch that if you're interested in diamond painting. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave those questions or any comments you have in the comment section below. And with that, we shall talk to you in the next video. Bye. Peace out.